This was given to Cyanide. And in fact, it was given to Nacon around about 3 months ago. And I worked on this with a collection of different people from the community. I took a lead, but I asked a lot of people this. AndyDavo strikes again. I know I'm going through this. I went through this to make sure that there's nothing on here that I can't reveal. This is all my own work. And this is about the ladder and where I thought the ladder should go and what we could do to make the game a better place. So this is a slide deck. This is about 15 slides. Let's see if I can get this to work. There we go. So first of all, the ladder has 6 core concepts that I think need to be fulfilled to make the ladder a enjoyable and fulfilling place. The headlines there, the first 3 are all games that should matter. We do need some concede penalties. And I think the players want some sort of objective or goal to play towards. So the game should matter. The idea that the ladder games need to have some sort of consequence when you're playing a game. If you can just quit out and it doesn't matter, or if any individual game has very little value, then someone won't necessarily want to finish it. If all of the games have a lot of value, then people will feel more obliged to finish any individual game. Concede penalties. Well, we've now got concession penalties. I don't think they're very good. And I also think that the concession penalties should have been spelt out to you guys, the viewer base. But the idea that we have at least got something, it'd be interesting to see in the data whether or not more or less concedes are taking place now we've got something. This here, we want to players want a goal. I think that the competitive players want the goal. So maybe that should have said competitive players. Let's jump onto the other side. And then ladder concept, players to have an official prize support. Well, nicely, since this document was given to them, we now do in fact have players. We have a playoff, and we do have concession penalties, and we do have official prize support, which is nice. Now, the next one here, the ladder is attempting to find the best players. The idea is that being able to achieve master shouldn't necessarily be a grind, in my mind. That being able to achieve the rank of master, if you want to achieve rank Jedi master, you need to be in the top 5-10% of the player base, because then they would actually matter. Do you like this? Do you like the PowerPoint? I don't know if anyone thinks it's any good or not. For me, qualification attempts need to be finite in length. So if the ladder had these things, these 6 core features, then the ladder would be a little bit stronger. The idea at the moment, we have this infinity bowl nonsense. If you put a soft cap in, now that cap can be a particular value. In Blood Bowl 2, effectively, it was 43 games, and that seemed to work quite nicely. So I would bring 40 games in as a idea, and then you'd need to tweak it and see what happens based on the data. Not lots of people are playing up to 100 games, but if you can play 100 games and still get into the top 30 or 40, then we've got a problem, because then it's people who can play lots rather than people who are good getting to master. Right. Considering we've been given this ladder structure, which is the stuff on the right hand side, let's use it, but let's redesign it. So at the moment, everyone either starts in bronze or platinum and then goes up or down from there. I'm going to say that everyone should have started in silver. Fresh coaches start in silver, experienced coaches start in gold. That means that you can go from gold to platinum, diamond to master, with master being the very difficult place to get to. And think of the current master rank as being diamond, and then you've plunked something on top of that so that you've got master actually is, oh wow, someone actually got to master, rather than, oh, master, the end of the grind, well done. And one of the things we're also seeing here is, because people are split across 4 different ranking pots at the moment, finding matches in a small player pool is quite challenging, because it's looking for people in platinum playing people in platinum, and then it's looking for matchups within your specific team value bracket. So you've got 2 different rankings. So if you could squidge everyone back down together again, platinum, gold and silver effectively, then you're more likely to find games more quickly. So that's better for everybody. The second half is if all the fresh coaches start in silver, you then filter out the newer coaches because they drop to bronze, but you also push the better coaches up to gold and get to play with the more experienced players more quickly. So I would redo this. If you're going to use this, this is my suggestion of rebalancing this. I also suggested over here that the jump from gold up to master would be, because it's soft capped, you'd want a decent win rate to get you to master of about 40 games. No, use the StarCraft 2 system. I don't know what that is. There we go. Ladder structure. So, summary. 64 player playoff for master. Yes. Qualification based on the top X of each faction, fixed for each season. Well, that's actually happened, which is nice. Diamond and Platinum to have secondary playoffs, so that if you want to keep more of the player base engaged, you could then have playoffs for not just master, but you could have additional playoffs for people who want to, maybe they're new, but they're coming in and they'd like to have a gold playoff or a platinum playoff. So you don't have to be in the top 3% of the player base to have a playoff to go at. And you also have prize support for that. Achieving master should be a challenge, ranking formula to be reconsidered, new players to start in silver, experienced players to start in gold, a team value cap of not less than 2k TV. Well, we now have that, but it should be lower than that. An official prize support. That was my ladder idea. However, you can go wider than that. Whoops. So, run a yearly tournament, and that would make a lot of sense that if it was supported every year, we'll come on to that, so we have some data to prove that this is a good idea. Run a yearly scope tournament that also includes community leagues. This should be in Blood Bowl 3 showpiece event and should be superseded regular ladder in that 3-month cycle. Yep. Is this what he wants or is wants coming? This is what I suggested to them. Run a community ladder prediction event. One of the best things you can do to get in community involvement is actually go out to the Twitch chats and say, what do you guys think? Who do you think is going to win? I stole that idea from Dota. If you look at the International every year, as part of what is their equivalent of Blood Pass, you can predict who's going to get to what round. And if you get it right, you get rewards. So it makes it interesting. Promote a return of esports events that took place in Blood Bowl 2. Things like Blitzpit, GG Tour. Those were really good standalone events. Blitzpit, both of these were great, but Blitzpit ran for a long time and was a really big Twitch investment. A lot of people looked at that and thought it was great. The GG Tour, we sadly only got to run it 3 times, I think. Each time got bigger and bigger, and then GG Tour folded, which was a shame. Additional ladder improvements. Track and display season ranking, SR per race. So that's great, but we should be able to see that, and we should be able to search for it. With each individual division, create searchable fields for race and coach. We should be able to search for that. That's bonkers that we can't do it. Display win, draw, losses for each team and above the search and characteristics. So this is just make it so I can find stuff. Roster management page should also display information such as games played and record. That's come in, kinda. It's not quite how I would have done it, but they've put it in. So that's an improvement. When games first connect, keep that initial screen for a minimum of 10 seconds. They've not put that in at all. And this bit here, whoops, we've got the team values, coach name, faction, SR ranking. We've got the SR ranking. We don't have the team value at the moment. We do have the coach name and we do have the faction. So we've got 2.5 of these. Then we can look at some stats. So this was season 1, season 2, and sadly the graphs are not the same size because they've got different bits of data in it. They've got team value in there. Have they? I haven't been looking. In fact, if they've got team value in there, JLev, that doesn't sort of prove my point a little bit, which is that it's not very clear, right? Making the ladder as possible is engaging with the player base. Sorry, making as many people as possible engage with the ladder is therefore a key priority. And we can see that the player base has been diminishing. The off season was a terrible idea, and this was written when the off season was still a thing. Thankfully, they've shot that in the head, and there's no more off season. And the stats here prove that the off season was a shit idea, because we were looking at 600 games played per day versus the end of season 1, which was 1,000, and and during season 2 we had 2,500 down to 1,500. Right, most wanted features. So I just reminded them all of these are all the things that we actually asked for top number one was most in all the teams by 357 votes. That was hugely the most popular thing. Private League tools, well, they've got those coming, but currently they're in limbo because they messed something up. Chat feature, that was the third most wanted thing. That hasn't had any official announcement on that yet. Replay spectator mode, we've had that. Statistics, yes, we've got that. Redraft, nowhere to be seen. UI improvements, nowhere to be seen. Concession punishment limit, yes, we've got that. Resurrection mode, sandbox mode, no. Not up-to-date rules. Well, actually, we've deviated further from the rules now. So we've got some of the things we've asked for, but not on some of the others, and not on the number one. So I put this in the slide deck to remind them that this is what the player base wanted. Not what I wanted, this is what the player base wanted. World Cup data. So the 3 points here, you can see when the World Cup prelim took place, you can see when the World Cup itself took place, and you can see when the after effect of the World Cup taking place in CCL. And so putting in some sort of yearly event did make a big difference. And look at the difference in player base, 1,500 active players. I thought that was pretty powerful. Community leagues. Support the community leagues at launch. So once we've actually got private leagues in, then they need to be put on the carousel so that people know that they're in existence. For me, I'm saying that here that there should be an active web page that you can then go to if, I don't know, let's take Fallen Tide or Techno or Joe Howells all want to go and play in private leagues, then they should be able to click it inside the game to go to private leagues, and it should take them to all the different possible websites. They should be split by US, Europe, and maybe Australia. Keep the Australians separate, of course, so you know where they are, and then you can, if you are Australian, then you can play with the people in the same time zone, because that's the most important thing for private league. It's all time zone related. There should be a community league hall of fame. Have a location in game that shows leagues players have won. Wouldn't that be nice? Make it so the private leagues are actually supported. Always click suspicious links. Absolutely, yeah. Offer price supports private leagues to help them grow. I think that's important. Community engagement. Communicate the release schedule of teams over 2024. Like, directly. Couldn't be any blunter. Confirm you will actually speed up the recycle in some way. No, this was most asked for item on people want. This does not need to confirm which teams in which order, but it sets hope that we're waiting until 2027 to complete each game. That is not an exaggeration. It will genuinely be 2027. We should have someone replying to all the bugs, and you should create a publish list, and then you should tell us what bugs are actually being fixed and when. And then we're taking that one step further. If you want to see improvement in the game, why have we not got a dev blog? Create a mechanism for coders to get near instant feedback on bugs. So if we know that there are bugs out there, you've got a team called the VIPs that could go and test them, and you've got the coder on, sitting somewhere in France, but if they don't understand what the problem is, you're not going to get the solution. It's not going to get coded. You want the coders and the VIPs to talk directly to one another. And then you should respond to what the people want survey. This is where I got my information from. So there. And then that's just a load of stuff that I covered. I'm not going to go through that. So that was what I gave them. I don't know if you guys thought that was interesting. Some of it has happened, which is nice. Some of it, not so much.